Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new game analysis video. This is game number 11 in my Road to Expert series, where I am trying to reach the level of 2000 rating USCF. This is round number 3 of the Fall Swiss at my local club, and I'm playing a new gentleman to the club named Quinn Warman. He recently just jumped up from the reserve section to the open, so congratulations to him. And his rating right now is 1029. And at the time of this game, which was played back in October, I was 1805. So let's take a look. I played one knight f3. He opted for a Caro-Kann type of structure, and I want to play a King's Indian attack. Now, he played bishop g4. What I was expecting him to play was this. And you're like, whoa, Nick, why do you want to give up your queen? Mainly because I understand the structure, and I am okay to go to an endgame with anyone at the club. And I feel I've got really, really good, maybe stronger chances than most against most people in the club, with maybe a handful of exceptions. And against any normal player that's, below my level, I believe I would win this a lot of times. So, and I was expecting for some sort of line like this. And the idea for not playing this is that if you look at the structure here, with just seemingly normal moves, black doesn't have a whole lot to play for. And white has this huge advantage on the king side, where, I'm restricting all of black's pieces, and it's really difficult to proceed for black. And this is definitely not what you want as a Caro-Kann player. You want to be able to have a lot more say in what's going on in the middle game. So he opted to go with bishop g4 instead. And I thought, okay, well, let's change this. He decided to take, and I took queen f3. And he played e5. And at this point, I'm kind of out of book. I don't know exactly. I haven't had a lot of experience with people taking that knight off since I've been playing this, especially for the people that play an early bishop g4. But so now I'm here. I have to kind of think about what I want, and we've got this and this, and I thought, well, I think if we take the pawn, and he takes a pawn, and then we go after it, I have this really nice outpost for my knight. So we get this. And then if I played, I was thinking as this what might be a potential way to play. And I thought, well, I can come in here, and this is very nice for white. Now, maybe that's not the most ideal place for the knight. Maybe here might be better. But either way, I thought that this was perfectly fine. I can play bishop e2 and castle, and then get my bishop out, or out to here even. Or we can even try to play for bishop to a3 to get rid of this bishop, and then I'm sitting with one bishop and he has none. I think those were some nice options. I decided not to do that. I thought, well, I want to stop this bishop from this nasty check because I want to be able to move my pieces, and I don't want to be pinned right away. And I thought a3 was a good try. Knight f6, and truth be told, I think that this is probably not the best way to play. c4 is the only move that's been played in the Masters database in this position, but it's 100% winning for black. And in the normal database, there's a whole bunch of moves to play, a3 not being one of them. So I probably should have just developed a piece, since I go from plus 0.2 to minus 0.2. Now, I'm not really I don't care too much about the evaluation or what the engine says at this point. We still have to play practical chess, and it's still a game, right? It's even. All right, so knight f6, normal developing. I pin his knight. He unpins the knight. This is pretty normal, even though they say that these are inaccuracies. And I thought, well, I'm going to take, and I've got this pressure. Knight c3, and how does he handle this pawn? with d4. Knight to e4. Now I have the ability to go after that. I also have the ability to take off that bishop and be left with a bishop versus a knight. A bishop versus knight. Endgame, which to me I'm happy with. Knight to d7. And yeah, that was definitely a mistake. The engine doesn't call it a mistake because the engine doesn't really care that you come in here, because you can play, king to f6 or king to, e7 or f8. And the engine doesn't really mind that this pawn is lost because there's always this move and then you can lose this pawn. So these are things to think about. He plays king to e7 and I played king to d5, or queen to d5, sorry. The move it wanted me to play was to come back. So it was just destroy castling rights and then come back to pick up the bishop. That was it. I didn't do that. I thought, well, let's push forward a little bit. I still like this. It's still difficult to deal with because what do you do? Rook to f8, blocking me from coming in here. A better move would have been knight to b6, challenging my queen. And then I have to come here and he can kind of force a queen trade. There's all kinds of different options. I think here probably would have been the best idea if he played that way. But he made a mistake here by playing here, and then I castled queenside, which it also doesn't like, but I wanted to protect this pawn, so it says that I should have played knight to f5 and then king to e8. But what do you do after this? You just get the pawn, or you castle then? I think it's probably you could do it either way. It's probably transposes, right? Knight to b6, knight to f5 check, king to e8, and then I decided to take the pawn, even though it doesn't think that's right. It thinks I should play. I say it, and when I say it, I refer to the engine. Maybe I should just stop running the engine on my games and play them and then come up with my own ideas and not really care what the engine says. That's definitely something we might consider in 2025. Although it is always good to know how well you played, but I'm not kind of in the idea of knowing what the engine says based on what are the best practical chances for me against my opponent, because the engine, of course the engine's always going to tell you how you could have done better. So that's kind of, though I find it somewhat informative, it's almost kind of moot, because does it really matter at the end of the day what the exact perfect way to play was? I don't know. That's obviously debated amongst chess scholars. I'm not one to answer that question, but I took the pawn. I thought, okay, I can get the pawn, and now I'm up a pawn, and now I feel like I have some good chances. Now the evaluation here says minus 0.5, so, but this is still hard to deal with. Queen to c8, and I think you can see where the blunder, that was a major blunder. What did black have better? Rook to c8 was the best move here with this type of play. Okay, I think that would have been most likely fine. He played here, and I think you guys can see kind of the end of the game. It didn't last. It did last another like 9 moves, but we'll kind of buzz through it. You guys can see the tactic. Pause the video, try to figure it out for yourself if you haven't yet. The answer is here, and you fork the queen and the king, and yeah, that's about it. Now, I do like that at this point in the game, Quinn decided that he was not going to resign and he was going to fight on, which I respect that quite greatly. Don't resign in your over-the-board games. Make them checkmate you. Make them checkmate you. It's important because you'll find a lot of times where you'll be in a position like this where you're up a queen, but there's still a lot of pieces on the board and you might be able to defend. The other chance is they could blunder back. So always fight until the game is over. If you checkmate, you definitely can't win, right? But if you don't checkmate, you do have a chance to win still. They could blunder back. And chances are high in the class level or the club level, somebody will give you the pieces back. Just be aware of that. Okay, I decided to be a little greedy and take another pawn. I didn't see anything else. I'm also have a threat by attacking this knight. He saves the knight, which it's not completely, yeah, actually it is saved. So I saw this as a potential move. I didn't put it in my analysis, but you can just jump back. So then it would be kind of a non-issue. So bishop e2, I finally developed my light squared bishop. I want to put it up here. I think it's a great square for it. Rook to c7, rook to a8 with a fork. Pick up that piece after he moves his king. Rook cf8, he's got some chances, so I have to be a little bit careful. So more counterattacking, which is always good. So we save that by rook to d2, king to f8, and I get my bishop on a nice square here. Rook to c5, and queen to d6. And at this point, this is where Quinn decided it was enough, and he decided to concede. So wouldn't have mattered much. It's really hard to kind of continue on this point, because after he moves his king, if he moves his king here, do we have a checkmate? Yeah, we do. So there's a checkmate there. Now if he moves this way, we just pick up this rook. And it's not over, but a queen and two rooks against a rook and a bishop, especially against somebody 800 points higher than you, it's tough to, come back from that. So he gave me a little bit of respect there, which was nice of him. But yeah, if you're in that situation, just play the checkmate. Don't respect your opponent until they checkmate you. Always have a complete disdain for your opponent. Make them checkmate you, because there's a lot of times where they might not know how. They might not know how to checkmate. They just assume that if you lose a queen, that you're going to give up. And then they have not actually learned the skills enough to actually checkmate someone. So, number one tip, don't resign. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Congrats to Quinn. He's playing very well, and actually he's raised quite a bit since the last time I saw this, so he's been on the rise. He's doing and putting in the work, so I look forward to playing him as he improves. So thanks for watching, everyone. Do like and share. It helps me out, and I really need the support. It helps me out so much. Have a great day, and take care.